Laura, are you on the road or are you back home now?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. My company's still on a moratorium for travel,
Oh,
but I did go to Joshua Tree for a little camper van excursion, but that was a bit ago. Yeah.
okay. Okay. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, no, it's a fair question. Yeah, I haven't done any travel for work since March, since the thing started. Yeah.
Wow, you've been home a long time then.
Yeah, yeah. I had a real full Alaskan summer too. It's kind of funny. I was like, "Oh yeah, this is what this is like." I knocked off some bucket list items. I was like, "Ding ding ding."
Oh, that's always good. Yeah.
But that was a bit ago. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm just wondering.
That's weird. Yeah, no. I haven't done any travel for work since
Sorry.
March, since the thing.
See, it is weird.
You've been home a long time.
Can hear my southern accent loud and clear there.
Yes, can. All right.
Hello, everybody.
So I'm
Hello.
trying to remember if I mute this.
Hi, Jen.
Hi.
There we go. Hi, Jim.
Hello.
I just got a text from Lily who said she's not feeling well, so she won't be joining us tonight.
I have a quick question. I'm trying really hard to find the agenda for tonight's meeting, and I see the January minutes, but I can't find the agenda.
It should have come out on, was that Friday that it was sent out?
Oh, maybe. Okay. I'll keep looking. It's just me.
It was on the 4th.
On the 4th?
Thanks,
Okay.
Bob.
Yeah.
I will look. Thank you.
Annie, if it helps, I can put it in the chat box too. Actually, can I do that? Oh, I can't share a file. Never mind.
I'm about to find it. I'm
Okay,
scrolling through things, but thank you.
got it. Yep.
Let me,
Brenda,
Thanks
we
for
can't
sharing that,
see
Laura.
you.
You might need to share it. Laura, you might need to share that again once everyone gets in, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, totally.
With the umbrella folder.
That's because I'm having fun trying to finish dinner because my husband's late getting off work. So I figured instead of seeing my wall, I would just hide myself for a few minutes.
Nice.
Now we know.
Hi, Orlandis. Hi, Shelly.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello.
Here comes John.
I know Rob's trying to log in. We maxed out all of our Wi-Fi and I had to bump the plan up today so that I can present at a conference on Saturday. So that's fun. So hopefully it's been a little weird today, so we'll see.
All right. Is my mouse clicking distracting?
Not so far.
Okay.
Now it is because you pointed it out. I'm going to be like, I'm kidding.
Okay. I can not use my mouse. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so just so everyone knows, we have YouTube Live up and running. And Alex, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. Well, item number 1 is determination of a quorum and call to order. And looking out on the screen here with the various pictures of each person, we do have a quorum. And do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
This is Jim. I move to approve the agenda.
Okay, we got a motion to approve the agenda. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Got a second on it? All those in favor of the agenda, approving the agenda, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Okay, the agenda has been approved then. And moving on down to item number 3, approval of minutes. I hope everyone had an opportunity to read through the minutes. If you have, or if you need time, you could go ahead and read over them. But if you've had time,
Just a point of order real quick. Who's taking minutes? Because Megan is not on, I don't think.
Oh, Megan is not?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
I was just going to ask that if we could have a volunteer to take notes. I just got the motion to approve the agenda in a second, so I can pass that on to whoever might be able to take notes for us.
And normally I
How about
would,
Kelly?
I'm facilitating the goal part, so I feel like that I should not take minutes because I won't be able to multitask.
And I would say yes, except I'm currently trying to help Robert get online because we're having these technical difficulties. Other than that, I'm happy to help with that.
And
I'm sitting in the Goose Bay Inn doing this on a phone because there's a Goose Bay 150 sled dog volunteer race meeting in about 50 minutes. And so I can't do it today. As a matter of fact, I might have to
Okay.
quit a little early.
I can give it a shot.
Got it. It looks like Todd wants to.
Oh, Todd wants to.
Todd
I'll
will
let him
take
do it.
minutes for us.
Oh, okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Todd. All right, and hopefully what you're looking at right now are the minutes from our January meeting.
Okay.
Except that is the wrong year.
Did we get a volunteer for the minutes?
Yes,
Todd
Todd.
will do minutes.
Oh, Todd's going. Oh, okay. I thought he was letting Todd in. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. If everyone's had an opportunity to review the minutes, could we get a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Okay,
I'll
we've got a
second.
motion on the floor to approve the minutes. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second that.
Got a second on it? Any discussion? Hearing none. Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
I
Those opposed, say nay. Okay, it appears that the ayes have it. And we'll move right down to item number 4 then on our agenda. Public comments, 2 minutes per participant. Do we have anyone from the public desiring to make a comment? Hearing none, we'll move on then to item number 5, principals report, and then sub-item number A, student celebration. And Amy, you've got it.
Thank you, Alex. All right. I just wanted to point out that the year is not 2020, and that needs to be updated. So I'll make that change, just so it will be noted.
Yes, let's not please repeat the past year.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Here we go. I have too many windows open. I'm pretty sure I've said that in every single APC meeting. Too many tabs, too many windows. All right, here we go. So this should have the correct year. Yay, it's 2021, February 11th. So Ms. Crosby and I, as we have been working on some marketing material, we reached out to some students, and some of those are alumni. And we got this amazing quote that I would like you to take a minute to read. It will be going on our website soon. And this particular student will be moving out of state soon, but I'd really like to get a voice recording of her expressing this because it's really powerful. And it really encapsulates everything that we're working to achieve at our school. So I love this quote. So those students that are listening, let us know if you have quotes. I know Orlandis, our most recent board member, is in the current Real World Design Challenge, and big part of that. So that is a big celebration of things that we do at Highland. And before I skip ahead, we do have a lot of things to celebrate. We've got a lot of students who are really rising to the challenge of this pandemic, and I wish I could highlight all of them. So maybe at our next board meeting, and I'm looking forward at our next board meeting to having some more data to share with you, as it will be closer to the end of the year. An update of COVID relief grant money that will be coming our way. I just got word of this yesterday, and I wanted to plant this seed for the APC to let you know that coming soon we will be getting a one-time allotment in the amount of just over $197,000 to be used to focus on student achievement and within that window. So we don't get it every year. It needs to be used by 2023. And look, I did it again. I'm stuck in 2020. It actually starts July of 2021. So we will start to, I'd like to start thinking about how we want to allocate these funds. There is some red tape and there's some limitations to what we can spend it on, but new technology for students is an idea. Extra support for students, both academic and social emotional support for students is another idea. So this isn't an action item or anything for us we don't need to make any decisions tonight, but at our next board meeting, it would be good to make that decision, or at least give me some guidance on how the APC would like me to proceed with spending those funds. Questions about that, the ESER 2 funds?
Amy, quick question.
Sure.
Would you be okay if we generated a kind of a quick Google form to poll staff and students on their thoughts before that meeting?
Sure.
Okay, I'm willing to help with that. I'm willing to actually take point on that and just get your feedback, and Nicole's and whoever else. But it'd be nice to get. I think that's great, and I think I have some ideas off the top of my head. But my first idea is, what does the staff think, and are there any student ideas on it? So I'll help get a Google form out fast.
Cool. Thank you, John.
You bet.
Yeah, it'd be good to get a little bit of a needs assessment from our stakeholders.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments about that? Okay. Very exciting. And also coming up in 2023, which seems like a long ways from now, our charter renewal is up. It will be our 20th anniversary in 2023. So not only do we need to make a big deal about that, but we need to start thinking about our charter renewal. And so I wanted just to give you an idea of what that process will look like and a general feel for the timeline. So as a board, we'll need to review our bylaws and the charter, the charter. And we'll review those and make any changes, hopefully this fall. And then there are 4 sections to the application process. And I was thinking, I would take the lead on this and go through each section and then present the section at the following board meetings, and then get your feedback on those sections at that time. And then in July of 22, we submit a letter of intent to Anchorage School District's board, and that gives them 30 days to review that and they also will review our application at that time. And then they need 2 full board meetings before it comes on the agenda to review the application. And then once they approve that, then we send that on to the state, and the state requires 90 days for their board to review, and then they hold a meeting, and then we get renewed. So I don't foresee any major roadblocks. I've been working on this timeline and working on the processes and the structure of it, and I feel like if we break it up like this, that it's totally manageable and won't interfere with the work of the board, the mission of the charter. Any questions about this process? Okay. Well, let me know if anything comes up. And that I intentionally left the principal's report pretty short this evening so that we could move into the action items and really dig into our goals. But I'd be happy to answer any questions about student achievement or any aspect of the school if you have any questions at this time.
You had mentioned Real World Design Challenge before. Should you let our board know how they did?
Oh, I thought I did at our last meeting. So our the Real World Design Challenge team took state again this year for the 10th consecutive year. And yeah, very exciting. They've worked really hard. And Orlandis is a big part of that. So way to go, Orlandis. That we won't be traveling to Washington, D.C. this year like we have in the past. We didn't get to go last year either. But, and I think it's undecided. Orlandis, you'll have to grab the mic and let me know. But I think it's undecided whether we're going to compete in the national challenge. Even though we won't be traveling.
I'm thinking as a team, we are going to be participating. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good. Yeah, thank you, Brenda.
Hey, Amy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm backing up here, but when you asked about this process on the charter, given the new members and not everyone's gone through that process, nor probably has read maybe all of the latest and greatest version of the charter, I think it might behoove us, and we don't have to do it right now, but when the bylaws, I think we're a little fresher on those as opposed to the charter as far as a new board is concerned. But even though I know that they have access to it, I think maybe we do some pre-read to the review action part of it, just to process our own thinking, etc.
Sure.
So I don't know.
So what I can do is send out the most recent, the version that was worked on at your retreat in Girdwood in 2017, maybe. So I'll send that version out. And then I'll just send everyone a folder with some documentation.
The bylaws are in the Google folder currently, the latest bylaws. But I don't think I had a digital latest and greatest of the charter. But I will look.
Right.
I'll look because I recall us having a Word document snafu as far as updates on that digitally. That is. So I don't know that we ever resolved that when Michael was here. So, but yeah, I will look. But the bylaws, everybody has those in that Google Doc folder.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, but the charter, and last I saw it was kind of messy. There was a replace all where I forgot what it was, but it was something kind of interesting. Every time there was a tech, it turned into tech. I don't remember. There was a replace all that just got really messed up. So I'll send out the latest version that I have of the full charter, but just know it might be messy. And then if it's super messy, then that's something that I can start working on, cleaning that up. All right. Thanks, Laura.
Okay, I guess for now we can move on to item number 6, meeting the mission of the charter. And under that, item A, reentry.
Excuse me, it's conceivable that things are going to get pretty loud and crazy here around 7 o'clock. I'm wondering if we can switch the order of those two items so that if there's any questions or comments or concerns about the committee work, I can be here for that.
I'll switch A and B around.
Yes, please, if that's possible.
Yeah, is everyone in agreement with that, or should we vote on it, or how do you want to do it?
I'm good with that.
You good with that?
I would just offer that the reentry is pretty critical. So we would need to put us on a time frame for committee work, whether we get it done or not, so that we can make sure we get reentry addressed.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem doing reentry first, Laura. But if I fade out here because things get too loud, I'll pick up the thread tomorrow, and I'll review it. So no problem. Let's just do that. If it's critical, let's do that first.
Okay. So we'll stay on the schedule then.
Sure, that's fine.
Okay.
I withdraw my request.
Okay, thanks, John. So A, reentry, sub-item under that is state date. Start date.
Start date, yes. So I will give you a little bit of background on why this is on the agenda this evening. According to Anchorage School District's calendar, the face-to-face start date for secondary education will be March 15th. And then a few weeks ago, we were told that would actually be moved to March 22nd to allow for families and staff members who are traveling over spring break to effectively quarantine. And so then the week of March 15th, which is the first week after spring break, would be a synchronous week at home. So continuing distance learning as we know it right now. The ASD's board decided that was not the best use of time, and instead decided to start on March 15th, face-to-face, all middle and high schools, with one little caveat, and that is that first Monday, March 15th, would be for the new grade level to that building. So at a middle school, it'd be the 6th graders would have the whole building to themselves that day, and everyone else would be learning through Zoom. And then the whole school starts on Tuesday, March 16th. So I hadn't really considered March 22nd until it was presented to us that was going to be an option. And at that time I thought, well, that's a great idea, because we can't control what our teachers are doing over spring break. We can't control what our families are doing over spring break. And if they've got travel plans, then they need to quarantine. So I wanted some guidance from the board on this, because I got used to the idea of March 22nd, giving everyone a chance to quarantine and then starting up March 22nd. There are some pros and cons for sure, but I will just say the pros of waiting until March 22nd are what I said for quarantining. That's really the primary reason. But the costs and the cons are that we've got one less week of face-to-face instruction, and that's really it. That's really the biggest cost. But that's a pretty big cost when you're talking about a semester's worth of learning in one quarter. So, everything is sort of exaggerated when we're talking about amount of time in school. So what I'd like to do is get thoughts. I know Todd and Kelly, I've asked staff members to reach out to them if they had strong feelings about either March 15th or March 22nd. But I'd like to open it up to discussion from the board on if you have a direction you'd like me to proceed in.
My comment would be is still start on March 15th with the idea that, okay, because we've already set it up where we're going to have some students who are staying home no matter what anyway. So if people actually do travel out of town, okay, it's understood. If you leave town, you have to quarantine before you come in our building. But like I know for us, we're not leaving town. So, and I don't know, especially with all the issues still going on around COVID and vaccines not being available for everybody yet, how many people truly are leaving, at least flying and leaving the Alaska area during spring break?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing as Brenda. I was thinking if we're going to have sort of that hybrid approach anyway, where families may opt to stay at Highland but just work from home, it might not be any real difference because they would just, like Brenda was saying, they would just quarantine at home anyway, like the virtual students.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other comments on that?
I just agree with that. If there's a clear understanding that students that do travel need to self-quarantine, and that is made explicitly clear, then there really is no reason not to open up the opportunity for the other students that would like that extra face-to-face attention. And so I disagree with everybody so far.
Shoot.
Ron, are you saying I just?
We can hear you
or
now,
I just-
Shelley.
Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Settings are only set for me hearing you. And not
When you take off the headset, we can't hear you. The microphone has to be closer to your mouth. Yeah,
Okay, that'll work. Then you can hear me now?
we can.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Hey, okay, that works then. So I feel like those families who are going to send their students into the building have certainly a higher level of comfort in this time than, say, the families that are staying home. And some of those may be more apt to then travel. And although there are restrictions that say people should quarantine, not everybody follows those guidelines. So for the safety of everyone, I personally think it's great to be able to give that extra window of time for families to stay home, even if they might not otherwise make that choice. That would be my thoughts.
Other comments?
Yeah, so a little bit more information for you too that might be helpful in making your decision. We recently put out a survey and we got 58% participation in that survey. We're hoping for a little bit more after an email I sent today. It closes tomorrow, so we'll be reaching out to the people that we haven't heard from to see what they intend to do. But currently, of the 58% who responded, 22 students are planning on staying at home through a program called Highland at Home that will all be asynchronous through Empower. And then we've got about 5 or 6 students who will be doing purely ASD virtual, which if those are the only students that are not going to be participating in person, then that leaves us at about 135 students face to face. So that's those are really great numbers for students in classrooms, and that with those numbers we'll meet the municipality's 50% capacity in every classroom. We've got HEPA, hospital grade HEPA filters coming in soon thanks to the PTSO, and PP or plastic barriers, plexiglass barriers for all the tables for students, so that increases our safety measures as well.
Yeah,
you know, I don't know the risk level difference between flying and being in a school. And so I don't know that that closing the school or not closing the school, but being synchronous through Zoom for that first week will really have that much benefit.
Right.
I think the concern with flying is the new variants that are in a lot of that are showing up in different states that aren't necessarily all here. Though I feel like I thought we had one case of the UK one, I thought. But we have the other ones showing up in the lower 48. So if anybody is going to any of those states and coming back, that brings a whole new risk level into our state and potentially our schools.
Well, thanks for sharing the more detail, Amy. I think, I would want to know that the staff feel comfortable with the decision, of course, but I think based on the science and what we know now, as well as whole child learner mindset, I think it's important that, we get them into the building as soon as we can, with the idea that staff is ready to go, feeling like, yeah, we got the safety. We can do the best we can do with what we know and the things that we have. And to your point about the population, I think that's an advantage. And trusting community to make the right decisions with regards to their travel. So I think, you said it already, both have their advantages and disadvantages. But I think given Highlands' population, that is enough of an advantage to go ahead and make a call for the 15th with the idea that you're going to have people staying home. You're already meeting the 50%. You have the safety precaution. But the caveat would be, that the staff is also comfortable and ready to do their thing, right? So that's my 2 cents.
Any other comments?
I don't know. People hear me? I'm on my phone, so I don't know if people can hear me.
Yep, we can hear you.
Yes.
Yep.
So as a teacher, there's obviously pros and cons. I think we are fortunate in that a lot of our staff members are in the process of getting vaccinated right now. But as a teacher, I feel like the first week back is going to be a lot of just relearning how to be in a classroom and relearning how to be with each other, and obviously learning all the safety protocols that we have to follow. And just personally, if I have to wait another week for that to happen, I'm losing a lot of instructional time. And when we're on these quarters, it's crazy how fast it happens. So losing that week is like the equivalent of losing 2 weeks. So that's just as a teacher, that's my thought.
That's a good point, Kelly.
Thanks, Kelly.
Okay. Thanks. Any other comments? I think everyone had some decent remarks to make concerning it. I definitely can appreciate it, and that there is a situation where there really is no correct answer. It's just we have to decide, as a school, how we're going to go about it, and those within the school will have to make a decision. I mean, the students and parents will, ultimately decide what they want to do concerning it.
Amy, are you requesting an official motion by the board?
I would like that. Yes.
I move that we open the school on March 15th.
I second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we open the school on March 15th. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of opening the school on March 15th, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Okay, motion is carried. Then March 15th will be our opening date. Okay.
Thank you so much. So then the next item is stated as Asynchronous Wednesday, but the name has actually changed. The district was also going back and forth about asynchronous Wednesdays as we know them. And since we have the option for students to work from home, the district is giving guidance that Wednesdays at secondary will be student support Wednesdays. So for those students who are working asynchronously at home, and for us, it's called Highland at Home, those students will be required to log in to Zoom and meet with their 3 teachers on Wednesday for a shortened period of tutoring or just catching up, getting them, making sure they're part of the classroom and connecting with them on a weekly basis. And then they'll also be available for office hours for students who are in their face-to-face classroom. But there will be no students in the building on Wednesdays. And I don't know that what I would do if I wasn't bringing this to the board is follow ASD's schedule. Not only because I feel like this one really makes sense, but it's also something that we've done in the past with working Wednesdays, and so it's part of our culture already. The big difference is we won't have students in the building. So I don't know that we need a motion because we would just be following ASD on this one, but if there's pushback there or suggestions to do something else, I'm open to hearing those.
This was something that did have a fair amount of teacher staff support of keeping the asynchronous not in the building Wednesdays.
Thanks for that.
That's something that's going on pretty much district-wide, isn't it?
Yes, not at the elementary level, but for secondary. For middle and high
Yes,
school.
secondary. I know the young man that I am now the guardian for, who goes to West, they've got that going already with the Wednesdays. All right. And it seems to be working out.
Yep.
Okay, do we
Yes.
have a motion then on this?
Did we need a motion on it?
I don't think we need one. I think we would have if we wanted to push back.
If we
Right.
wanted to change it, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if we wanted to go different to it, but it's still the option available. So no motion then, we can move on?
Yep.
Okay, everybody in agreement with that. All right, then. We've covered that, so we'll go down to item number B, APC goal, strategy, and action.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex. So team, I have a couple of things I want to kind of give an overview, and we're going to go in committee work time, if it's all right. And I'm going to share my screen. I think can you hear me?
Hear you fine.
Okay, I thought I was freezing up. One of the things I noticed about the committees is I went in there today to make the slide for them, and they were messed up, or at least to the memory that I recalled, because I went in there and I thought I had finalized them. But anyway, I wanted to just take a minute to make sure that we have everybody in the right spot. And Orlandis, I know that you haven't signed up, so we're going to want to put you in a committee. And the committees are for our 3 goals. So it's collaborative protocols and productivity.
You're also supposed to be in. Oh, sorry.
Or performance or family involvement. And Shelley, I had you in performance, but then I believe you were the Google Doc champion for family involvement, correct?
Yeah, I actually signed up for both. I think Robert and I both had signed up for both. But at least for my own self, I had signed up for both.
Mm-hmm. And so these don't have, I want to take a minute to confirm so we can move people around as desired. But I did want to solidify this before we go into task time.
Well, I definitely have some interest on at least one particular element in performance that I wanted to be involved with.
Right. That's what I thought. And when I had put you in there, and then Annie was also in 2 places. So I don't know if I didn't save it or what happened? So if family involvement is okay, we can still Shelley back. You just won't have a Google Doc champion per se as far as the overview. So I guess if there were questions, you could probably reach out to her. Is that okay with everyone if we move Shelley to performance as far as
You
I
can't
guess
do both.
Yeah, I guess I think there were a number of us that signed up for 2, so that was where I'm confused.
Right. You signed up for because I think we had said sign up for whatever you're interested in. And then my job was to create the committee rosters because you're only going to work on one. As far as committee time, you're only working on one committee. At least that's what I thought, and I could be wrong, because if you try to work on 2 committees, then you're going to be you're signing up for 2 different meeting calendars, all of that. So I went in there and I rearranged folks based on who signed up for what. Not everybody signed up for 2 things. That's why I'm spending a minute to clarify. So it's your choice, but in my understanding was that everybody was going to be on one and one only.
Okay. Well, I specifically added a piece to performance that I definitely want to work on, because it's something that I also work on in my day job and have some ideas on and different thoughts. So yeah,
So I'm fine because, and again, I had you in performance and took you out of family involvement. So I'll move you back. I just wanted to make sure. And then Annie, you were in 2 places, but I think I have you in the right spot now. And then Orlandus, do you have a preference on which one you want to go to?
Not if that isn't the most important thing right now. I guess I would ask for a quick rundown.
Yeah, so the 3 topics are family involvement is one team. Performance is the other. So that's how we talk about how the school is doing and also how Principal Johnson's doing, Miss Johnson. And then the third one is collaborative protocols and productivity, and that's kind of our processes, our standard operating procedures for how we're going to work. So those are the 3 options.
Okay. Totally cut out in the middle of my sentence. Sorry about that. That'll happen. I think I'll go with productivity, collaborative.
All right. Thanks, Orlandus.
No problem.
So with that, then I think unless anyone has pushback or clarifications, yeah, I'm going to leave that up to you, Shelley. Like if you want to work on both, I'm going to let you drive that engine because you're going to there's 2 different, we're going to go into breakouts here in a minute, and I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to let you can always meet up with Linda.
Okay.
So I have a quick, maybe Shelley, you were saying there's only one particular part of performance that is really near and dear to your heart because it's your job. Maybe when we talk about that, we can go ahead and either make a new note or loop you in, like we can loop you in without having to leave family without a Google Doc champ. Is just an throwing that out there. Just
you could be a Google Doc champ.
Yeah, so when you want Shelley, just raise your hand and I will move her. Or try to.
Talking, and what is the part that if Amy can just move you over when we get to that part, what is the part?
Well, it's particularly regarding the what do we have currently in place with regards to measurable performance on meeting those CCPE goals? And there's a whole lot of things going on in other states that are pretty awesome ways to meet that. I know we're definitely not doing to that degree, as opposed to just completing a checklist. There's quite a bit of things that can be looked at with that. And so I'm really interested in seeing us do more on that level with our CCP work, and then being able to make sure we have that really measurable so that when our students are graduating, they're truly prepared in that way and have ways to truly show that. So that's the big piece that I'm particularly interested in. I'm interested in all of that section as well, but I think I signed up for family initially just because it's what I've spent so much time doing. And at that time, nobody else was comfortable with Google Docs.
So
go ahead, Annie.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I actually, if you go into Google Docs right now, the performance, I highlighted that section and I put a note to loop Shelley in when we get to that part. If it's helpful.
Thanks, Annie. Shelley, and I don't mean to speak for you, but it sounds like to me you have more of a desire right now to be in performance than you do family involvement. Just tell us where you want to go tonight.
I know, right? I would like to go to performance tonight, and that will give me a better idea. Do I really want to be here, or do I really want to be back in family involvement?
We'll do that, and we're only going to get started tonight, so I don't know that we're going to get into all the granular details. That's probably going to happen at committee time anyway. So yeah, that's what I would. Let's do that, and then you can decide.
Okay.
Later.
But if
and
the other's short, I can always go over there. That's fine too.
Right. I'm sure that
Could you see that
family
screen
involvement
again so that
will be able to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. Can you share your screen again so I can see who goes into which group, and I'll set them up right now?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And while she's doing that, I'm going to just speak to a couple of suggestions, and then we'll get in there. We've got quite a chunk of time for working. I think family involvement, you're going to be fine without your Google Doc champion, but again, you can always ask for help, and somebody will come, I'm sure. Everybody's Google Doc champion worked on the Google Doc, i.e. Google Doc champion. So they worked on cleaning it up. And so I would argue that it's at its working final stage, meaning ready to actionize on. So thank you to all the Google Doc champs. What I'm thinking will happen tonight, and push back on this, this is just a suggestion, is that given the time we have, the goal for tonight would be by the end of work time, everybody on the committee would be able to talk about what this quarter's priorities are for your particular goal and committee. That means you can say between now and the next 3 months, given a timeline here, we are focusing on blank, blank, blank. Does that make sense? So I call that the skinny plan. As opposed to thinking about everything that you have on your plan, you're thinking about the quarter version of your plan. Thanks, Brenda. So I came up with a list of tasks. You do not have to follow this. This is just a suggestion, and you can make meaning of it in your own way. I neglected to make an action table on your Google Doc, so note takers would have to figure out how they're going to capture decisions that are being made. And this slide is in your Google Doc folder, or you can take a picture of it. But one of the things that came up for me when I was thinking about this was figure out who's doing what as far as roles for tonight, which is in the slide deck. The next thing that I would suggest is that the Google champion, and for family involvement, that's probably going to be either Brenda or Skip It, or you do a longer silent reading. It's up to you. Maybe it's Kelly. But the Google Doc champion would just review what they did quickly. What are the big highlights that they feel the team needs? And then everybody goes into silent reading time. Review it, Make sure you're like, yep, I get it. And then after that is over, you take some time. Does anyone have clarifications? You make sure the team is ready to move. Does that make sense? And again, you can modify that. I'm just throwing that out there as a before you dive into everything, make sure that your team is feeling like there's clarity and we know what we're about to get ourselves into, so to speak. Then after you do that, the main task would be to figure out your skinny plan. What's going to happen in your committee time and your report out time between now and May? And I said 3 priorities. I think that would be different depending on the brevity of the goal. But again, you have a big plan and you want to shrink it in. What's going to happen like the rest of this semester, so to speak. Talk about the look-fors for the skinny plan. So because we're going to be reporting out at board meetings, for example, we would want, I'm on performance. Performance should be able to say, yo, our first priority was this, and our look for was this, and we are 50% there. We met it. We don't know because we're behind. Whatever it is, we got to know what we're looking for. The other thing I thought would be good is take time to figure out your meetings. So we decided, correct me if I'm wrong, we're not meeting, we're having committee time, but the next actual board meeting would be in April. But you could talk about, correct? Thanks, Amy. You could talk about your committee meetings for the rest of the quarter if you want, but figure out when you're going to meet. And then if you get all that done, that would be now time to talk about who's going to do what. R&Rs, right? Questions about that? And again, you can modify this how you see fit when you get in there, but any clarifications or questions about any of that stuff? No? Okay, I'm looking at my clock. It's 10 till, and we want to do a report out. So whoever is your spokesperson, when we come back to main room, we are going to celebrate to the degree that you need to. I just gave not a random frame. I gave you a frame, but celebrating something from team time. Did you run into a challenge you want to share? And how would your team fill out that sentence stem? So the spokesperson would share out, you don't have to share out all 3 of those, but it might be one of those things or all of them when we come back. So we would want, and I'm backwards timing here. It is 6:51. I'm going to say we go till quarter after. So that means, Amy, would you be able to send the breakout rooms a 5-minute warning at 7:10?
You got it. The other thing I'll do is I took a screenshot of the committee team time tasks. So I'll be going through the Google Docs on the side since I'm not on a committee officially, but I'll be in the main room. So if you need any help or if you need to come back and see this list of tasks, I'll have that up.
Well, and it's also
So
in
back into the main room.
It's in the shared folder too, Amy.
Okay, just in case people need.
Just in case, yes. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, have fun. See you on the other side.
You guys can put me in family.
Uh-oh.
Oh, she put me at what? Okay.
Shelly, you want to go back to family?
I can do, yeah, I could do whichever. I mean, whichever you know me. So wherever you think I'm going to be able to give the most, put me where you think I can give the most. If it's family, I'm fine with that. I pretty much wrote most of the stuff in there with the feedback of folks. So it doesn't matter to me. I just, obviously, the whole CCP thing is a very strong interest. And I threw it in there. I wasn't even part of that team when I wrote it. So it may or may not be appropriate and applicable in this. Maybe it's something more a conversation with you. I wasn't sure, but
I would love to have you in performance.
okay. Then I will go
Unless
into
you really want to
performance.
go to family.
No, I don't need to go to family. I'll go to performance. Robert's supposed to go to the other. He's letting the dog out, so he'll join in a minute.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, perfect.